just saying, God has done some wonderful things in my life. A lot of people always ask me on show, man, how'd you come to know the Lord? Or how'd the Lord snatch you up, better yet? How he chose me, because I sure wasn't looking for him. Let me go ahead and explain to you how our marvelous meeting occurred. Check it out.
The first 5 months of my life, my father was in prison, and he left when I was 3 years old, and that was hard for me because I was a true daddy's girl. And she found my stepdad, who she stuck with. She had a daughter with, and he was really, really abusive. And when I was 5 years old, we moved to Moloketi, and the abuse got in a secluded area. And to me, it was so nobody could hear our screams and cries when we were getting beat. And it got so bad that whenever my stepdad left the house, he would take, all of the house phones, cell phones, and car keys with him. So we had no way of communicating with anybody outside of our family. And I remember thinking, when is my mom going to leave this guy? And finally, it took my mom getting run over by my stepdad for her to finally leave, and that was when I was 7 years old. And we had gotten placed in an abusive shelter, and then they flew us over to Oahu to get us away from him. And then my sisters, my brother and I, we were always in family counseling, and at age 10, our family counselor had suggested that I move away from the island because that she felt like I would enter into a suicidal mode. I was 10 years old playing the role of a mother. My mom was never home. She was always out getting high, looking for her next fix. So at 10 years old, I was taking care of my 1-year-old sister. I was always playing that motherly role. And so at 10 years old, I moved to Oregon, and I was living it. My grandparents, they were well-to-do, and that's who I lived with in Oregon. And I was in sports, horseback riding, everything, honor roll. 12 years old, I was introduced to alcohol and weed and my first boyfriend, and that became an everyday thing. And when I was 16 years old, it was like weed and alcohol wasn't doing it anymore, and I was trying to fill this void that I had in my life, from that I had built up from my traumatic childhood that I was never able to let go. Weed was just a gateway to ecstasy, to mushrooms, to acid, I was introduced to the rave scene where it became my lifestyle. I lived the lifestyle of a raver, and I would drive miles and miles to make it to a rave. I would save up money to make sure I made it to a rave. I would quit jobs if it intervened with my rave lifestyle. My life just got really, really bad, and at 18, I decided to come back to Oahu to try and rekindle my relationship with my dad, because after 15 years, I had finally found him and moved in with my dad, who I didn't see for 15 years, and it didn't go the way I had expected, except for one good thing that I got out of it was our family reunion. My cousin, it was my first time meeting her, and she kept talking about the love of God, and I thought it was a joke. I had known about God my whole life, but look at the trauma I had gone through, and so I would think God can't do anything, it's just like a religion, my family was really religious, and I never knew. I moved back to Oregon, and I would just, it was like I never left the lifestyle. I went right back to raving, right back to drinking and smoking, and I knew that my life was meant for better. It wasn't, I was born to do better things than drink and rave. Moana ministered to me, kept playing in my head so clearly, and I called her and I was like, I need to change, I'm ready for change, and I wanted more. I wanted to feel that love that she felt, that she shared with me, that God had, that I was. And November 24th, I flew here, and I went straight into the V home, and accepted God into my life, and it was the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. And here I am now. I'm 20 years old and I'm serving God, with my fullest. I am part of ushering. I'm in the green room. I do public relations. I'm part of the kids gang. My name is Nicole. I am a gang girl, and this is my testimony.